Most people get along well with their neighbors. You might have had yours over for the holidays, perhaps a barbecue last summer. But how would you like to share dinner with the people next door almost every night? And that wouldn't be all you'd share. It's a new, you might say, unusual way some people are choosing to live. See if you could. Here's Margaret Larson.
Oh, life would be a dream. Life would be a dream, sweetheart.
In the 50s, the suburbs were the latest thing.
Anybody home?
It seemed everybody wanted in. The idea was simple. A safe, friendly neighborhood where everyone knew everyone else. But now, 40 years later, some people want out.
It was like a ghost town in a lot of ways.
It was a very isolating existence.
Boy, you were busy.
Attorney John Evans and his wife Lynn, a management consultant, thought they had it made. A 5-bedroom house in a suburb of Denver. The perfect place to raise their twins, Nicholas and Elizabeth. But something was missing.
You didn't see much of your neighbors because they drove in and clicked their garage door clicker and kind of disappeared. You ready for breakfast?
In their hectic lives, they were looking for a slice of Mayberry, but it just wasn't there.
I can't get you now. Most households are 2-income households with kids that they're running from one activity to another, and people are gone during the day and tend to come home at night and just kind of seal themselves up in their little cocoons.
I'm gonna be Batman.
So they made a change.
Let's go, guys.
A big one. Something even their close friends thought was a little weird.
I think the most frequent reaction was, it sounds like a fascinating concept, but it's not something that I would do.
What they did was sell their dream house and move to Harmony Village, just outside Golden, Colorado, where knowing the neighbors would never be a problem again. People here do laundry together, share a garden and playground, and prepare meals together. When they heard that, some of Lynn's friends thought she'd gone around the bend.
The other common reaction that I got when I started telling people is, well, do you know these people? Do you like these people?
That's probably because the last time we heard about this much togetherness, the moon was in its 7th house, and people wore tie-dye, or nothing at all. But residents of Harmony Village insist there's one thing it is not.
It's not a commune. We do not share money. We do not share partners.
We don't have an ideology or an intent, a strong intent other than, making life more easy, more interesting, more fun, more economical, more practical.
And I think the odds of them carrying through.
Husband and wife architects Charles Durrett and Catherine McCammett wrote a guidebook on this European-based type of neighborhood called co-housing 9 years ago. Since then, more than 50 co-housing communities have started construction or been finished in the U.S., with at least 100 more in the planning stages.
I was trying to look at how could I provide this sort of place where a kid can have friends, can have a sort of spontaneous lifestyle.
Why couldn't you do that any place? Why not in the suburbs, in a high-rise? Why couldn't people do that any place?
Well, in theory, you could, but what we have found is people just have a really hard time meeting their neighbors.
Okay. See you soon.
Not so in a co-housing neighborhood. That's what makes it so different. Houses all face each other. Cars are banished to the side. Co-housing is a conscious effort to recreate what used to happen naturally in neighborhoods. Unlike many suburbs today where people can go days without running into one another, communities like Harmony Village are designed to encourage neighborly encounters.
Our community is built for pedestrians. It's built for children. It's not built for cars.
And co-housers say they're willing to pay for that sense of community, spending more to own a smaller home because they're also buying a share of the open space and a common house in the middle of the complex. Prices at Harmony Village range from $97,000 to $375,000,
Yes.
with no restrictions on who can buy. But as you'll see later, there are some obligations you might find surprising. And there is an unwritten rule that moving in means helping out the neighbors. Like 12-year-old Brennan Burke.
Do you have your spelling test today, Brennan?
who spends afternoons with the Evans while his mom works.
We've just been delighted that we can share child care resources in that way.
Have a good day at school today?
Or retired minister Macon Coles and his wife Jenny, who describe co-housing as a lifeline.
It's so great to be able to relate to children. You have fun? And to have them around. I know we wouldn't have had that in a retirement community.
Excuse me, Macon. How's it going?
It keeps you alert and keeps you from simply lying back as though you're out of everything. You're in it.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
There's no arguing the value of neighborliness, but how much privacy would you be willing to trade for it? Remember the common house in the middle of the neighborhood? That's where residents pick up mail, hang out. And think about this one, share meals. You don't have to go. You can eat at home, but you are required to take a turn as cook once every 4 or 5 weeks.
I'm hungry.
And if you eat, you split the cost with your neighbors.
I had really grown weary of cooking by myself with 2 toddlers hanging on me.
On a working mom's dream, you come home and there's a meal cooked and you didn't have to cook it.
Right, exactly.
Nor do you have to clean up.
That's heaven, actually. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the definition right there.
Unless you're a big fan of personal space.
What would you say to people who are watching this and would say, I don't want to feel social pressure to say hello to everybody I come in contact with when I'm done with a hard day's work?
I don't think there's any expectation that anyone has to do that here. There's the opportunity for interaction. There's not the requirement.
Now, if communal meals seem like an overload of sharing, try this.
I want to keep on time tonight.
The thing even the most devoted co-housers dread.
The biggest disadvantage, I think, of co-housing is endless meetings.
That will be
Long meetings, at least twice a month.
Do you have dinner yet?
No, and I'm going to eat when I...
After a full day at the office, you come home to the joys of a 3-hour discussion on landscaping or door trim.
I'd like to get it just a shade stronger.
Imagine trying to reach unanimous decisions with your entire neighborhood on minute details, like the color of window well covers, subjects that become yawning chasms into which entire evenings can disappear.
People get hung up on little things or big things?
Oh, some of both.
I have a hard time imagining a group of 20, 40 people getting together and trying to make decisions about things like their Formica.
The hardest thing to get consensus on is things that are very subjective. Color is a killer.
Don't you ever want to say, I want to put up a swing set and I don't want to ask anybody, I just want to do it?
people will do those kinds of things. There is a major goal to give people what they need from a private point of view and to allow them to get what they want from a community point of view.
Do we go that side of the bridge?
The hardest part of selling co-housing to non-believers is convincing people to give up their own individual design choices. Their attached garage, their time-honored images of a dream house. But residents here argue their lifestyle is not radical at all, just a road back to the good old days.
Co-housing is actually very traditional. It's about trusting your neighbors, sharing things, a good place to raise kids, a good place to get old.
Breeze in the trees all sounds good. It's very comforting to know that you won't be alone. And that, of course, is what a lot of older people struggle with.
Okay, are our dancers ready?
Things like eating together, making music together as a community, to me is a really strong model to give our children.
I remember how this changed me.
Can you imagine going back to the neighborhood you came from?
No, I can't.
No, not under any circumstances that I could envision.
As we travel